Coming fresh off the heels of Spider-Man No Way Home, we have the latest Marvel adventure, Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. Now, going into this film, I actually was a little bit nervous. I did have concerns that I want previously addressed in the previous Doctor Strange film, and I wanted to do something different just because we are coming up on over 10 years of Marvel products at this point. So at this point, you start running into dangers of maybe we have seen everything the MCU has to offer. I think the MCU, especially now, has a lot to prove and has a lot of fresh blood they need to get in and a lot of things that they need to establish. I think Doctor Strange 2 actually does a very good job of that, actually. Wagwan, it's your boy Daffy, and today we're here with another review. I know the last time I did a review was like months ago. it was I think it was the Venom movie or something like that. I was gonna do one on Jujutsu Kaisen, but I forgot. But yeah, so real quick, for those that don't know, my name is Daffy, and with these reviews, I kind of just sit, talk. I really don't have a script. I have a certain order of how I do things, but that's pretty much it. I just kind of keep it casual. I feel like I'm talking to you. It's a conversation. So if you like the content, if you like Doctor Strange, make sure you leave a like, and if you want to stay here, subscribe. So without further ado, man, let's get into it. I gotta say, man, Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is still really one of the better decisions Kevin Feige and the whole cast that Marvel made. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch, he really sells it. I definitely think that with the wrong writer, you can have a Tony Stark 2.0, but I never really got that from this film. Doctor Strange's snark and Tony Stark's snark can kind of fall into the same category sometimes, but Doctor Strange tends to come across a little more humble in certain situations, but I think helps. So I definitely got to give kudos to the writers for that. I always love seeing Wong. Wong is he's probably, I wouldn't say he's my favorite Avenger because we're still kind of in a transition phase after Endgame. Who's an Avenger, who's not? Obviously, you still have some of your mainstays like Thor and the Guardians and all that. But as far as my favorite Avenger, but Wong's up there. Wong's probably high up there. I always love seeing his presence on screen. I think he has wonderful chemistry with Benedict Cumberbatch. They do an amazing job together. The effects also in this movie, are fantastic. I mean, I'll get more into it later. I'll get into it like deeper level, but the effects are fantastic in this movie. I did not see it in IMAX. I just saw it on a regular screen. So I may go back for a 4D or IMAX experience. It depends. We'll see. Elizabeth Olsen, I think she did a fantastic job as Scarlet Witch, man. I do think she was kind of a victim of the script. I'm going to lightly touch on this, but if I had to pick one phrase to kind of summarize this film, it would probably be a character assassination, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about when I get into it, because I'm just kind of going over some brief things that I did like. And Sam Raimi was directing. Sam Raimi again did a fantastic job. I believe this is his first MCU director. I believe this is Sam Raimi's directorial debut in the MCU. So kudos to him. He did a fantastic job. A lot of the shots some of the cinematography in this movie were absolutely stunning. There's a scene where I believe Baron Mordo is describing what the dream hopping or whatever the actual term is that they use, and you kind of just see Doctor Strange's face, you see his face, and you see Wanda, you see their faces start to kind of overlap. It's very trippy. It's very foreign to the MCU as far as cinematography goes, because if I'm just being completely honest, the MCU does have a cinematography and a music problem, but I believe actually I believe they're kind of fixed with this movie. I loved what they did with this movie. As far as Doctor Strange characterization, I did want to see more of Doctor Strange's human side. I mean, we did kind of get to see a little bit of that in the original Doctor Strange movie. It was more of an origin story, him finding the Ancient One, and then learning and not trying to be the Sorcerer Supreme, but training, getting under the guise of how to operate with magic, kind of getting into the world that was already established. But I really wanted to see his own personal views. I really wanted to see his own psyche, really. And there's a couple of major lines in this film where one of the major lines is, "Are you happy?" And it's said at the beginning of the film. It's also said at the end of the film, or about near the third act. And it's a major question that comes up. Are you happy? And the first time he says, "Oh yes, I'm happy. Yeah, of course I am." Whatever like that. I have the power of the gods and all this stuff, But then as we keep going, he's not happy, and it's not just that he's not happy Obviously, it's the love of his life, but it's just he feels empty. And honestly, as I'm saying it now, not that it seems empty, but this woman literally is his whole world. Christina is literally his entire world. It's his not his whole entire reason for existence, but if you watch the What If series, again, the whole episode dedicated to him, about trying to avert her death, trying to stop her death, trying to do every single thing that he can. But unfortunately, it's a fixed event in that universe. In this universe, in MCU, she is alive and well, obviously, but we still do see him struggle with the fact that he did mess that relationship up, but he had to sacrifice it ultimately for the greater good, as we see. Wong, I was kind of disappointed how many L's Wong took in this film. I understand he's a side character, but I mean, it was a little disrespectful, man. They were kind of just throwing him around, man. It was just, I don't know. I feel like Wong got depowered, like as the Sorcerer Supreme. It was a little strange seeing, like, obviously we know that the titular character is Doctor Strange, obviously, duh, but seeing Wong kind of get thrown around a bit, it's like, it felt kind of like character abuse. It was really weird. But I still think the actor did a fantastic job. I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but he did wonderful. Again, like I said earlier, his chemistry with Benedict Cumberbatch is fantastic. We also did get introduced to a new character. Her name is America. And I have absolutely no idea where she's from or what comic she's from. I have no idea if that's an MCU original character. I have no idea if she's an established character. I have absolutely no idea. My lore knowledge on the Doctor Strange series is pretty much non-existent. So I apologize if I don't know who that is. I did like her actress. I think her actress did fine. Nothing about her performance blew me away. She just seemed kind of average, and that's not to say that she was bad. It's just nothing really stuck out for me with her, and unfortunately some of that comes with the script. She is literally a plot device. When I say that, I mean literally. We see maybe a 30-second flashback with her and her mother's, and then that's it. That's all the backstory we get on her. We don't know if she's been running this the entire time. We don't know if she had somebody attempt to train her. We don't know what original universe she's from. We don't know any of this stuff. We just see her with her mother's. An accident happens, and that's pretty much all we know about her backstory, unfortunately. And it sucks. That sucks, unfortunately. That is a major thing I really did not like in the film. I didn't feel that attached to her. To me, it just felt like oh, Doctor Strange, you have to be like the other one. It's like, oh, Doctor Strange, you can't be like the other Doctor Strange. You have to save me. You have to save this girl. You can't take the bad route. You know what I mean? It didn't really. She didn't. Her character, it felt very bare bones. I feel like if you had like a Tesseract or a Tesseract-like object, I feel like the movie would have been similar, not at all too much different. As far as my comment on the character assassination of Wanda, I don't know, man. I don't know. I maybe I'm alone in this, and maybe I missed a step or something. But when it comes to Wanda, obviously, I've watched WandaVision. I've watched all the Disney Plus shows so far. And one of the major things is that in WandaVision, unfortunately, she made everything up out of her grief. She kind of had like sort of like a mental break, and she just kind of wanted to retreat and pretend like everything was happy. Her kids, obviously, she loves her children, obviously, and because of this, her children are the main driving force behind the movie. But to me, it feels like we regressed. Like as soon as she started killing the different sorcerers at the main, not the holy ground, but as soon as she started killing like sorcerers and trainees at the main training ground where Wong and Doctor Strange were, it felt like character progression. Like I feel like we were past this. Like I feel like okay, the trauma and grief. I understand that. I understand. I almost call it a Necronomicon. Now, obviously, the Darkhold, it may have influenced her some, but I really don't believe it influenced her as much as people think it did. I know, with I know we see the second Doctor Strange. I know we see him, or the third, fourth, or whatever one. I know we see him. He's Guardian. He's like, oh, he's got a hold on you. But to me, it felt more like the temptation to do what you want with the Darkhold than the actual Darkhold itself influencing you to do whatever is what it felt like to me. At no point did I really feel like would have wanted to do this? I feel like we were past that. Like, as soon as you tried to fix everything with the town that you destroyed in WandaVision, why would you go back to doing this? Why would you go back to killing innocent people, other heroes from different dimensions? And that's a major thing too. So we got to see the Illuminati. We got to see, I believe it was the Captain Marvel of the different universe. We got to see Captain Carter, which is huge. I love seeing her. I love seeing her act. I think she does a phenomenal job. We got to see Black Beetle. Is it Black Beetle? I forgot what his name is. We got to see Black Bolt as well. And then we also got to see, which are two very, very, very important characters that unfortunately I got leaked too early, but we got to see John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and we got to see Patrick Stewart as Professor X again. Absolutely loved seeing these two on stage. I was with my girlfriend, and as soon as like John Krasinski came on stage or on screen, I was just like, whoa! I was just like, I was freaking out. And then as soon as I heard that, as soon as Patrick Stewart, as soon as you heard that, I was like, no way! I was like I knew about the Illuminati from the comics. I knew all about them, but actually seeing them on screen, I was just like, what? Like, I don't really care about Captain Marvel. To me, she's not all that interesting. I haven't seen any stories where I was really captivated by her and the cast around her. I have the same issue with Hulk. Black Bolt's cool. I didn't watch Inhumans, but I know about Black Bolt. I know he's an interesting character somewhere. But it was really refreshing to see Patrick Stewart take up the role of Professor X again, especially after seeing him in Logan, where he was arguably at his lowest as far as the actual character went, and then obviously seeing what happens to him there was just tragic. I loved seeing it. It's weird. It's weird because like Patrick Stewart's been like old for like as long as I've been alive, or as soon as I can remember, because like I'm 22 and like the X-Men movies came out when I was like 1. You know what I mean? So it's a little weird seeing that. But I mean, I really actually, for as little as we got of John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, I was really sold on it. I actually really like him. He has this it's like charisma, but it's something a little softer than that. I can't quite place it like the word for it. But to me, his Mr. Fantastic kind of feels like what I think the character should be. Like, always trying to be the smartest in the room, but he feels very gentle, very kind. But when he's talking to Strange, he was very stern. Obviously, when he was talking to Wanda, trying to get her back down, he was like, hey, I have a kid of my own. Obviously, that was huge, too. I was freaking out, too, when he talked about his kid, because, his kid is, like, one of the deadliest mutants, like, oh my, Omega level, like, type shit in the X-Men franchise. And so I was absolutely geeked about that. But, I really did not like the amount of W's Wanda took. Like, I get it. I understand how powerful the Scarlet Witch is, but when you kind of nerfed her in Endgame Infinity War, I don't know. I don't know. She took so many, when she took on, obviously, the entire temple of, and I'm forgetting, pardon me, I'm forgetting, but she took on, that entire training ground. She kills, I believe in order, it went Black Bolt, it went Captain Carter, then Black Bolt, then Mr. Fantastic, Captain Carter, and then Captain Marvel. And then at the very end, she killed Professor X as well. To me, it just, obviously, some of the heroes kind of put up a fight, but like Wanda solos a lot. And I understand that it's hard to write some of these things. I understand that it's hard to, make it so consistent when you have overpowered characters. I get that. I understand the Flash has a huge problem with that when it comes to the writing process. But it felt like she wasn't I still feel like we didn't really see Wanda at full power, if that makes sense. I still feel like Wanda was kind of like toying with her food, even still after she was weakened and everything like that. I feel like they wrote themselves in a corner. And to me, I was just like sitting there. I'm seeing like, I'm gonna go Captain Carter. Oh, she's dead. Oh, Mr. Fantastic. Oh, he's dead. Yeah, I mean, it hurt, and I don't know. Like when I see a character we've had in the movies coming up on 10 years, or coming up on 8 years, in the MCU, and she's acting like a villain and doing all these things that she had learned previously that we had a whole show about. It's just like, well, what's the point of even watching WandaVision? Just to see her get the Darkhold? Like, she's clearly, like, sure, she's over her grief with Vision, but then that grief just went immediately to her children that she doesn't have, that aren't real. So it's like, what are we doing here? Sam Raimi, man, he put his foot in this. It was very apparent that this is a Sam Raimi film. One of my favorite shots that they had with this movie, it was kind of goofy, but I liked it a lot. It's where Doctor Strange is kind of like puppeteering the dead body from the other dimension, and Christina is kind of like fighting those like demon wraiths or whatever like that, and you just see her grab the camera. She's like, ah! Ah! Like it was very campy. It was very like, it was cheese. Like, it was the good cheese. It was the real good, just like, we're having fun with this, and I love seeing that in cinema. Like, cinema does not have to be, not everything has to be read by Martin Scorsese, and, you know, like, bro, like, have fun. You feel what I'm saying? I think that's what Sam Raimi does best, when he has fun and he tries different things. I loved it. I loved seeing that. I just love, there was a shot where it's like focused on the door. And they're just like, oh, is Wanda gonna get to the door? Or are we good to go now? Whatever, like that. And then she does like the classic, like, like, it was like that. it was like that, man. It was just good. It was goofy. I enjoyed it. I know some people, you know, they might complain like, oh, this is stupid. No, I liked it. I enjoyed it. This is definitely its own self-contained story as well. You really only see the character of the superheroes from the other universe. You don't see, you get mentions of the other Avengers. You get mentions of like Hawkeye and Spider-Man and you know, Thor, but you don't see them, which I think is good. I think having its own self-contained story, after, you know, coming off the heels of Endgame and Spider-Man, kind of just letting those characters kind of just mingle about in their own universes, I think is a good step in the right direction. The music is fantastic. Speaking of music, there's an entire scene where Doctor Strange is kind of fighting one of his counterparts, and they start throwing musical notes at each other from off a page, and you just hear the piano just go burn, burn, burn. Every time that guy started like throwing something back, and then he takes just this one note, just the one note from a harp, and it just blows it all up. Like, that was very fun. It's creative. A lot of just interesting stuff that they did. I really didn't see that much as far as like anything wrong with the CG or anything like that. I mean, I definitely did think that there was, I believe, like one instance. There's like one is when they were it was when America and Strange were like traveling through the dimensions. They kind of get thrown on, and it's this real up close shot of them, not of their face, but just like kind of like of their bodies, and it was very clearly like a 3D model, and I don't mind. I get it. But like, it wasn't when they were in like a cartoon world. It was just some random world, and you could definitely tell it was CG. But I mean, other than that, I don't have any complaints. The movie looked fantastic. I definitely do. I was really feeling it when they were when Doctor Strange took like the demon race and like had them kind of like part of his like necromancy form. That was really cool, and I think it was funny because I believed, at least, that when going into this movie, I thought that we weren't going to. I thought Scarlet Witch was going to help Doctor Strange. I didn't think Scarlet Witch was going to be the main villain of the story, which I think was a lot of people's assumptions. We kind of thought like, oh, they're going to team up, or she might turn bad at the end or something like that. But no, when you know, Wanda turned out to be the main villain, it was kind of a shock for some people, myself included. So I definitely gotta give them credit for that. The promotional material did show a lot, unfortunately. Showing Captain Carter is a real big miss. It's a real big misstep. Having Patrick Stewart's voice, I think, should have just been the most they should have revealed. They should have revealed the promotional material. But I get it. It's fine. Music was fantastic. Pacing wise, it didn't feel like a little bit over 2 hours to me. I felt like this was a healthy pace. I definitely do. I would have liked a little more. I have no idea who that is in the end credits scene. I did a little bit of reading. I have kind of a grasp now. She's a Doctor Strange original character. from the comic books. Like she hasn't really interacted with any other heroes. Like she's not from like a Hulk she's not from like a Daredevil or anything like that. Like she's from Doctor Strange's mythos. So I'm a little familiar, but I know most audiences like myself are really confused with that end credit scene. Like who is that? And speaking of the end credit scene, I was very confused, and obviously as we should have been. I would assume Doctor Strange just got a level up from the Darkhold for holding it temporarily, I guess. Because when you see that third eye, I was just like, well, is that the old body like trying to possess him back or something like that? I was very confused. So we don't know yet. I really hope they don't show that too much. It reminds me of Tien from Dragon Ball Super, or it reminds me of Tien from Dragon Ball, and not in a good way. Like it looks really weird. It looks kind of off. Not the actual effect looks bad. It's just I don't know. It's just something about it. It's like the uncanny valley. So I definitely would rather them not show that if they don't have to. But I am definitely excited for where Doctor Strange is going to go. I would assume he would appear in Quantumania. I believe the next Ant-Man film might be releasing next year, maybe, possibly. I'm not sure what the MCU schedule is at the moment. But I do hope the Ant-Man film is going to be nice. Ant-Man and Wasp wasn't really memorable for me. I actually really don't remember anything. I like the first Ant-Man. Just the Ant-Man and Wasp was just, I don't know. I think it kind of suffered from sequelitis. But when I say sequelitis, I mean when you take the original formula, you don't really... You add some things, but you don't add enough to where it feels fresh for the audience that have seen it for the first time. It doesn't really have the same effect. So I definitely do hope that Ant-Man and the Wasp will be, or Ant-Man Quantumania will be better than that. I really want to see what America does. I'm really curious to see where her character goes. I want to see her have some growth. I don't think she'll get like her own movie or her own miniseries, anything like that. I don't think so. I think it's too early. But I definitely do think it's a good idea to get some fresh blood in the MCU, especially coming off an Endgame where you lose your heavy hitters like Iron Man. You're gonna be losing Thor here in a second. Well, not losing Thor. You're gonna be getting a new Thor, which I am very excited for. Very excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. My biggest gripe with the Thor: Love and Thunder trailer recently is that there's no Thor. You know what I mean? Like I get it. We have our Thor Odin's son, but I'm trying to see Thor. You know what I mean? I want to see the female Thor. I want to see Natalie Portman's Thor. I definitely want to see that. But yeah, I know I kind of like rambled a little bit. I mean, it's a review. I mean, it feels like I'm talking to you guys. But yeah, man, yeah, please just let me know what you guys thought about it. Did you guys like this movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was average? I would say this might be one of my favorite MCU movies. It definitely has its flaws. It definitely has its flaws. I would just have rather them not have Wanda retract everything she did, because even at the very end, like when she's like, oh, I'm not a monster, I wouldn't hurt anybody, to me it didn't feel like it sank in correctly, because it feels like it's too little too late. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if it wasn't her kids, she wouldn't have cared. And I understand that's the point, but I definitely just would have rather have maybe another villain. Maybe you could have had a Baron Mordo or something like that. Maybe I don't know. But definitely let me know what you guys thought. Man, did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you like this review? If you did, that'd be fantastic. And if you didn't like it, well, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's me, boy Daffy, guys, and hopefully we'll be getting back to some more reviews, man. I'm definitely wanting to get kind of back in the swing of things. My schedule should be lightening up on the next 2 weeks or so. So just yeah, thank you guys so much for your patience. I hope you guys have it going and be safe. Thank you guys. Peace.